Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another episode of All You Can Eat Chelsea. Big up your damn selves in the building. Make sure you smash up the likes and subscribe if you're new. Joined by the casting crew. Big up the brothers. Do you know what I'm saying? We were just discussing everybody's head top heat map. Just as Younes came in, Miss, do you want to go? You want to rerun that, bro?
Wheel it.
I'm missing in the middle.
Miz is starting to go.
Oh no,
he's starting to go. I'm starting to go.
Oh no.
And there we
Younes, I think I'm a little bit better than you.
Yours is better than mine. Yeah,
Do
mine.
I need to say something?
Mine's just here. Everyone else is great.
Am I invited?
Drogbaba's got a full head of hair. Drogbaba is John Travolta right now.
Drogbaba is the winner at the moment, but I think I'm just slightly behind Younes. Younes, you're a bit advanced.
I am. But for me, it's genetic. My dad's lost hair. I knew it was coming. From when I was 18, I knew the day would come. So I'm just going to enjoy what I have got left.
Same with my dad.
I'm way ahead of you guys.
They're saying Drogbaba's already offside.
Yeah. This is not even a conversation, bro.
Baba, do you realize in about few more years' time, both Younes and I are going to catch up to you?
We're going to catch up, bro. It's going to be, man, free boardies and Matisse.
We're just going to wait for Matisse to come on board.
Wow. I'm going to do as best as I can to preserve and protect what I've got left. You know what I'm saying? This is nuts.
He's going to feel...
Anyone in the family that's like, as they're growing, they lose hair? Anyone in your family?
Not really. I don't think so, no. I think I'm fine.
He's going to feel left out. He's going to see the three of us, and then he's going to get a razor and live on air and just go, screw it. I feel left out, man. I got to become the fourth.
To be fair, I was bored before in the Big Six.
Yes,
you were. You were.
That was not a good look. That was not a good look.
See, my advice to all of those who've got some hair or a pretty good bunch of hair left on your head is enjoy till it lasts, because you never know when it's all going to go. So yeah, that's it.
Oh dear.
But did you? Because you told me you used to have quite a bit of hair. It was same thing happened. Like you just started balding.
Not quite bit, a quiet bit.
Were you like me doing the David Luiz?
No. My hair were never that dense, so I could afford the luxury of growing so much hair.
Oh,
the density of my hair was always very thin.
Younes had I don't even know what Younes' hair was like.
Younes was
like he was from the 80s or the 70s. I don't even know.
Younes was Adonis. Younes was Adonis.
I had no word of a lie. I had people coming up to me that I didn't see in my life going, "Can I touch your hair?" I had it tons of times.
Mad.
And my dad warned me it would happen because he had them happen to him too. And then he lost his hair. Now I'm losing mine. So it's what it is.
Younes, tell us one thing. Did you get a lot of girls at that time or what? Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Oh my God, brother.
Hey, listen. If there's one thing I can advise, long curly hair is a magnet. It's a magnet. If you pull it off,
girls.
it's a magnet.
Wow.
Literally.
But what if you got an ugly face?
Hey, you got to work with what you got, my friend. You know, you got. That's where your word game has to improve. In that case, that's just if your looks aren't doing it, then
bring people back to reality. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if you know what I'm saying, if you don't have the face, then unfortunately it's not gonna work for you. It's basically what you're saying. But big up the chat, big up everybody in the chat. Shout out to all the boardies out there. And yeah, I mean, let's be honest. That game against Blackburn, it wasn't exactly the most entertaining, enthralling encounter. It was a little bit stale, but we got the job done in the end. Two of our rivals got knocked out in Manchester United and Arsenal. There's only Liverpool and Newcastle left, one of which we play. And that's where I want to start. I'm not going to really discuss the game, apart from a couple of players potentially I'll bring up on the cusp. But Newcastle at home, I haven't spoken about it yet. How does everybody here feel about it? Because I'm not going to say I'm terrified, but I do believe that this is probably the worst tie we could have got. I said it on Twitter. They're the experts of low block, one of the best defenses in the country. They're very versatile with their tactics. They can go low block, they can press you high, they can score goals, as they've shown many a time. and our Stamford Bridge record is pretty horrendous. So, and at least with Liverpool, we know that they're going to play a higher line, so we can expose, in behind. I don't know. How do you guys feel about it? I know Younes is definitely not.
We all know how Younes feels.
Mate,
He got called.
Full time Chelsea 1, Newcastle 0, yeah? No, listen.
By the way,
I
guys,
put it out straight.
Did you see the comments under Younes's tweet? The brother got called.
Mate.
Oh, did he get cooked?
People gave it to him. I was like,
let me go and take a
look.
But at the same time, because I knew that would come. But in my head, I'm like, we'll see. I hope we win, but I'm honest. Right now, it don't look like we will. I mean, I feel like that sentiment was high because we just beat Blackburn. And then I got to bring everyone back to reality. We beat Blackburn, and it was Blackburn, and they didn't even play well. What?
I'd be fishing for any positive as much as the next person, but that Blackburn performance didn't do shit for me.
That's the thing. I've come on and said, look, I don't care how we win by any means necessary. Cool, yeah, against a Premier League side, any Premier League side, even Luton, I really couldn't care. But when you're facing a mid-table Championship side and you've got basically a full-strength team on, nearly, yeah, and Blackburn are playing Harry Pickering at left back, and they've got strikers that can't score from 2 yards out, and we're praising the fact that but we got the job done. Yeah, we got the job done, but that performance was quite dire. Then we get Newcastle in the quarterfinal draw, and everyone's like, now we're gonna beat the tune. I'm like, okay, yes, I admire the faith, but I think it's just that. I just think it's hope and faith, and I'm thinking right now, like Matisse said, Newcastle are the epitome of the team that we struggle to beat, which is a team that's solid at the back and doesn't let anything through. They are the epitome of it. We struggled to Brentford. This Newcastle team can defend really well, and they can go and score goals if they really want to. They're not a low block team that just sits and does nothing. They're a team that knows how to progress with the ball too, but when you ask them to defend, they're the toughest in the league as far as I'm concerned.
They're very physical as well. Joelinton's just come back. Guimaraes, and it's.
But surely, boys, like in a cup game, they've got Champions League to deal with.
Do you think they'll rest?
Got Premier. Well, they're gonna have to, right? They're gonna have to. How are they gonna play the strongest team in the Premier League, in the Champions League, and also they will have to put out that similar sort of craft. Livramento, I don't even know who some of those players were, to be honest, besides our boys, Lewis Hall and Livramento. I think
Matt
I saw
Ritchie used to play for Bournemouth when Eddie Howe was there.
I think I saw Kraft's name like maybe 10 years ago, once upon a time.
I've never seen his name before.
To be honest, I didn't know too many other players besides our boys. Like, surely, lads, we got to give us at Stamford Bridge. Pochettino said post that Blackburn game, and I completely agree with all you guys. Was not a particular performance to praise about. Of course it wasn't. But it's a win. You stay happy as much as you can. But he said after the match, this is like our European tie. Like, people have the Champions League. We've got Carabao Cup. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is where we're going to deploy our strongest team. Do you know what I mean? So as sad as it sounds, that's the state that we are at the moment. So for me, I give ourselves a very good chance, man. I really do. I think. See, I just wanted to avoid Liverpool, but at all costs. So we've done that, and I would have rather
Liverpool. I would have rather Liverpool than Newcastle.
But Younes, we don't beat them though. Like, I hear people say, "I rather Liverpool." Tell me when was the last time we beat them though?
Yeah, but when was the last time they beat us?
But they always in a cup tie they end up beating us in a penalties
on penalties.
Yeah. So we don't beat. Like, I hear a lot of people saying recently, "Oh, I can't wait to face Spurs on Monday because that's the kind of team." Tell me when the last time we beat a top team. Like, don't give me this nonsense.
But Newcastle are a top team now, as far as I'm concerned. They're in the mix.
What I'm saying is we are not doing well against top teams. We're not doing well against low blocks. I give ourselves that opportunity in the cup. Besides Liverpool, anyone else, I give ourselves an opportunity. I think we should be looking at that particular match at home. And I know our home form is so abysmal, but somewhere This needs to change. This narrative, this perception, this image, Mr. Pochettino has to change that. Or else, what are we doing,
Like,
lads?
I think. Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Do you know what I mean? Wasting time or what?
Mats. I mean, yeah, it's true. We do need to win a big game. This will go down as a big game. The fact that you just called it our Champions League made me a little bit nauseous. But, you know, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not lying.
Hey, Poch said that, bro. Poch said that.
You know, Carabao Cup under the lights. It's not what I had in store with my life. But hey, you know, we'll take what we can get. Do they have an anthem? Do they play any sort of song for this match? Or are we just going to go out there to silence?
I'm sure there's a remix. I'm sure there's some sort of a remix.
Bro, the Wimbledon game was not even telecasted anywhere. So, let alone playing a song, they don't even have the broadcasters in the early stages. So this is the competition that we're talking about.
Let's be honest. I think we can all admit that if we win this trophy, that's a big deal, or no?
It's a big deal for the players and the manager more so than maybe
That's what I mean.
For us.
Yeah.
Like, obviously we've seen
something.
big success. So, you know, this is kind of like
It's
this is
something,
kinda
but
like-
it's not a big deal.
It's nice to bring it in, but you know, we do want to fry bigger fish in the future.
But
But-
Matisse, where we came from last season, like, this is
From
a
where we
big
came
deal,
from,
bro.
and for the players and for the manager, I think this is
Yeah.
massive. It's
I
good to
mean,
get started.
it's good for the team spirit, for the camaraderie going, okay, we can win something together as a unit and all of that.
Yeah.
But like, it does not mean that we've achieved something big.
So
like
if we
that-
get knocked out by Newcastle, Baba,
Hmm.
are you not you'll just move on with life?
I expect us to get thrashed by Newcastle, to be honest.
Wow. Am I the only one that thinks we have some chance?
The problem in all of this is, miss, which Chelsea will turn up on a particular day, we don't know. We saw two sides of Chelsea in the Burnley game. In first half, it was absolutely pathetic. In the second half, it was all rainbows and sunshine. In Arsenal game, we were absolutely brilliant for the 75 minutes, till that Sanchez howler. And then the last 15 minutes, we got cooked. The team did not know what hit them. In the Brentford game also, we should have won the game in the first half itself. But somehow when we concede a goal, we don't know how to come back into a football match. If it hadn't been for that own goal in the Burnley game, the stroke of luck that we got, Sterling crossing the ball and the ball ending in the back of the net, we would have lost that game also. I'm pretty sure. So sometimes we need that either we need to take a lead or we need that stroke of luck to come back into a game. Let's be honest, we played brilliantly against Arsenal, but both of those goals were kind of lucky. You don't get that, like,
Well, the Mudryk one was.
Yeah, Mudryk one was lucky, and penalties, like, okay, it was a pen, it was a clear pen, but it was a pen. Like, it was not from open.
You're saying he didn't mean it? Mudryk didn't look up and see.
Oh no, it was a shot. It was a banger. It was a banger.
Top bins, man.
Yeah, man, that's what I heard. They worked in training.
See, my point is, this team is currently Jekyll and Hyde. We don't know which side is going to turn up. If we play like we played against Liverpool, or we played against Arsenal, or the Brighton performance in the last round in the Carabao Cup was okay. I would have taken that against Blackburn if we would have played like that, barring howler from Sanchez in that game also. But in one game, you play good against Arsenal. The next game, it looks good till the first half against Brentford. You switch off for a moment, they score a goal, and then you don't have any answers. The second half was the most pathetic piece of football I've seen this season, the Brentford game. First half, I was quite happy with. The only thing was we were not able to score a goal. And see, I am not getting into this. I am not going to buy this argument that we are just unlucky in front of the goal. We don't convert our chances. If same problem persists for 18 months, it means you're not unlucky. You're bad. Accept it. You're bad. You lack the quality. And the Blackburn game, if they had quality, as Miss said in the starting, if they had a bit of a quality in that final third. Oh, sorry. Younes said, yeah. They would have equalized, or maybe we would have won the game. We don't know. Both of those goals also, like,
they had chances.
The second goal was a mistake from their goalkeeper. It was nothing like we
they gave the ball
or
to
something.
us.
They gave the ball to us. So for all we know, we might turn up against Spurs and produce this magnificent display of football, and we will be the first team to burst this Spurs bubble. but we can get thrashed also, because if we play what we played against Blackburn, Spurs will gonna eat us alive. I'm not even kidding. So we don't know what we are gonna get this team from this season.
Do you know what? To go to Spurs, we actually have to be perfect from back to front, like literally no mistakes.
100%.
In every game, we play good for 20 to 25 minutes. And if in that period we don't score a goal, we lose that game. As simple as that. So in Spurs game also, I think we'll get that 20 to 25 minute window where we will be absolutely brilliant. We will be carving them open. We will be creating chances for fun. And I'm pretty sure we won't take chances in that game also. But if we are to take chances and say the score goes 2-0, we might win that game. Otherwise, we are not winning a game, because from first minute till the last minute, not a single game I've seen this season that we played perfect football for the whole of 90 minutes. Even the Burnley game, which has been our most convincing win this season, 4-1, if I'm not wrong. The first half was shit. So for the entirety of 90 minutes, I have not seen Chelsea. Hell, the Wimbledon game was so hard to watch, man. Even though I was watching it through someone else's Instagram.
We conceded a penalty and then we had to come from behind.
Apart from Matisse's Instagram.
Apart from Fulham game, you guys tell me one game in which we've been good for the entirety of 90 minutes.
Luton.
That was not a good
First half was not good. First half was not good.
First half there was
First half was not good.
It's true. Yeah.
No, you're right. You're spitting, bro. We do need to have a proper performance from start to finish. That was what I said after Blackburn, is that we're actually due. Well, I said it before Blackburn, hoping we get it for the Blackburn game. We didn't, but we are actually due a proper performance. Before we get into the specifics, what's everybody's confidence levels going into Tottenham? Like, does anybody? And this is being honest now. You don't have to come with this fake
chest.
Fake chest. This isn't the big six.
It was chest day as well, man. A lot of chest pumping.
Does anybody think we can get something out of the game? We can win?
I don't think we can win, but I think we will put a better performance, as people have stated. That type of team who don't want to sit back and want to attack, we find a little bit of room to showcase our skills as well. But I don't think we have the quality to keep a clean sheet against that team. And we don't have the discipline. Quality and discipline. I think there we do lack a little bit of quality in the back at times, but it's the discipline that we definitely lack to keep a clean sheet against a quality team like Spurs. So I would take a draw. I would love it if our squad would go out there and put the performance of their lifetime to inflict Spurs' first defeat in the Premier League. I think that itself should be a motivation. But I don't think it can happen, so I'll take a draw. But if we were to lose...
Which is probably most likely outcome.
I don't want to speak.
Yeah.
Because, boys...
Do you know
just
what
before Younes goes?
Go on. Yeah.
I was just going to say...
Yeah.
And this is what I mentioned in my one of my recent videos. There has to be a breaking point soon. There has to be. With the fixtures that's coming up, we don't win against Spurs, say we lose. We lose against City. Then we've got Newcastle. Then we got Brighton. Then we got... Surely there's a breaking point somewhere soon. Like, you can't continue like not winning or simply losing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And this is the thing with this Tottenham game. I think there's Chelsea fans that have it in their heads that it's Tottenham. And that's how it's been for years. And I agree, for how Tottenham and Chelsea have been, pairing up and how they've been compared for year after year after year. For my entire life, Tottenham have just been, yes, Tottenham. That's 3 points. And then sometimes most times we win. Sometimes we lose. It does happen like on the odd occasion. It's like, bloody hell, they beat us. How did they do that, right? And that's like, the odd chance that they do get. That doesn't apply this season. For the first time in my life, I'm looking at this game, Tottenham-Chelsea, and I'm actually like, crap, I'm worried. I'm worried of them. It's not, it's Tottenham. Now it's like, it's Tottenham, and the way that they're moving, this game, I called it, I said it on my channel and elsewhere, this game is poetic for Tottenham. it could be pure poetry for them. It could be poetry for us to an extent, but for them, this is proper poetry. Why? Because they're sitting top of the table. They're 14 points ahead of us. They could make it 17 already. This is Tottenham we're talking about. They could go 17 clear of us with a brand new manager who's come in with a blueprint and it's just worked right from the get-go. The
Aussie
atmosphere,
Aussie Pep.
the atmosphere at that stadium is, I've never seen it like that. They're singing Robbie Williams for 90 minutes. It's just unbelievable, right? They've got this buzz. They get to welcome Chelsea, arch rivals, under Poch, their ex-manager, who they now want to prove a point to. It could just be poetry for them. Now, for us, it could be coming to Tottenham with their old manager and us in a bit of a gutter and getting 3 points over there and they're meant to be top of the league. That's what works in our favour if we were to get a performance in. But what I'm saying is the way that they're moving right now, I just don't see how where we are right now going to trump what they've got going on right now. They're playing brilliantly. They're playing brilliantly. They've got a great blend between manager and players and the instruction and the system and the way that they're scoring goals and not conceding many. We got to break that down. And with the way that we've been moving so inconsistently, I just, I'm worried. Personally, I'm worried.
Before Matisse says, after listening to what Younes just said, I'm convinced we're going to win now. I'm convinced. I'm absolutely convinced we're going to win now.
I've reverse jinxed it, guys.
I'm convinced we got this in the bag.
Do you know what I will say to maybe comfort the people is that the two big games we've played, Liverpool and Arsenal, we've fared pretty well in both of them. We've played very well. And us being at Stamford Bridge doesn't make a difference to me because our home record is shit. So whether we play this team home or away, it doesn't make a difference. Now, the only thing I will say is that obviously the atmosphere is going to be mad. Like, it's the Poch derby. We're going to Tottenham. They're probably going to give us a similar atmosphere that they gave Arsenal when they were closing in on Champions League qualification. They were both fighting for it and they beat them in that game. It's going to be a cauldron. Now, I think this is a great opportunity to see whether these players rise to the occasion of a cauldron or they fold. I remember Jorginho speaking about... and I think James was talking to me about it, about Newcastle's atmosphere at St. James's Park. And he was saying, listen, we love to play in these atmospheres, or this is where I want to play. I want to play in an atmosphere like this. Some players thrive in this atmosphere when it is like everyone's against you vibe and it's a cauldron and it's hostile. And some players crumble. We've got a lot of young players. But we've also got some experienced ones. Thiago Silva will be important in this game. Sterling will definitely play. He will need to be on his best. I feel like, and that is segueing me into Sterling a little bit, he is kind of like the Hannah Montana of the team. He is very unpredictable. He is very much wig on, wig off. Very much. Sometimes I'm going to drop a masterclass, or I might drop an incredible curler from outside the box, or I'm going to fail to connect with one of my, attacking midfielders and under hit a cross that doesn't even come 2 feet off the ground. He's very, and the defensive work rate in the first half as well just pissed me off in that Blackburn game. So he is very, but do you know what? I've just accepted this season and just in general, this is what he's like. He just is very fluctuating. That's what I'm going to call him. He's a fluctuating type player. But we've fared pretty well against good teams, and Tottenham will play into our hands a little bit by the fact that they will try and dominate the ball. They will leave space in behind. It is a big pitch.
Will they?
Baba, have I convinced you that we have a chance?
Yeah, we have a chance, bro. See, we have a chance in every game. The games that we have lost, we've had chances in those games also. If you rewind and watch those games, Don Hutchison has recently shared a table. If we factor in all the XGs and all those stats and whatnot, and if all the teams perform as per their XGs, Chelsea are 5th in the table. Newcastle are 1st in the table. Like if all of those stats were to be taken into account. So we are bad in terms of the position in where we are in the table, but we play decent football in every match for 20 to 25 minutes. That's my problem. The whole of 90 minutes, I don't know what we do. For the rest of the 60, 65 minutes, I don't know what these players are doing. So we will get a spell in this game also, because Spurs don't sit back necessarily. They come at you. They will leave open spaces behind you. You got pacey players on the wing. And we will get chances, bro. as I've told you earlier also, Brentford game, we would have scored 3 goals. Should have scored 3 goals in the first half.
Yeah.
But we don't have that quality. And that lack of Nkunku in the front line makes me doubt this team every time they're on the field. I think we cannot finish easy chances.
See, I get annoyed, and I've seen people say this a lot. Journalists say this a lot. The lack of Nkunku. Do you know what? Everything that you lads have been saying, and even to a degree, even I have, it kind of says we're not all utterly convinced with Poch. But is that what we're trying to get to? We lack Nkunku. We can't beat Newcastle. I'm saying that we're probably going to be under pressure if we in the upcoming. What are we doing then? Like, what are we actually doing? What is the purpose of this season? Like, serious question. Because it feels like no one's convinced. And we're going to finish 11th.
Outside of Cole Palmer, I'm not convinced with any of the attackers putting the ball in the back of the net. It's the same theme as throughout the whole season.
So are you not convinced with Poch or the board who's made those selections?
Poch still has to continue to prove that he can, win big games against top teams. But I don't think any manager outside of maybe Pep or Klopp would have us winning against most teams right now with the team that we have. I think a lot of these players, especially with the injuries, a lot of these players are underdeveloped. Madueke's, Mudrik's, Jackson. I mean, look at how many opportunities he has.
We made a mistake in the transfer.
No, I'm not saying we made a mistake. Two things can be. They don't have to be. Two things don't have to go together in that sense. I think for these players, for it to be a mistake, it's the long term. That's what we bought into. It's the long term. It's many years ahead. Will these players develop over time? Will they start to improve? Will they start to put the ball in the back of the net on a consistent basis? Hopefully. I think what he needs to stop doing is overly. Well, for me, I don't like the whole over-reliance on Nkunku, because I don't think Nkunku, when he comes back, is going to be fully fit anyway. It's going to take him a while to get back. So I think constantly hedging all your hopes on Nkunku is a little bit, for me, it's a little bit, you're shooting in the dark.
It's a weak argument. It's a weak argument.
Yeah, I think so too.
My point is, Matisse, with Nkunku thing is, like, if we go back to that Arsenal game when we were 2-0 up and Sterling played in Jackson, and Jackson was not aware where the keeper was, and Raya got the ball off his feet when he was about to do something. I don't know what he was about to do. He was one-on-one with the keeper. It's a better effort over there when Nkunku is there, right? It's not like Jackson is getting difficult chances to put away. He's getting very easy chances, and he's fluffing those chances. So half a decent striker. I don't know. I'm not counting Jackson out, or I'm not writing off Jackson after 10, 12 games. I think he's a good striker, but there is something wrong with his confidence, and we don't have that time right now as a club, as a team. If we were winning these games against, say, Bournemouth, against Nottingham Forest, against Aston Villa, if we were winning these games and we were drawing or losing some games in which we were not converting, I would be like, okay, be patient with Jackson. That's understandable. But right now, if you look at the quality of chances that Jackson is missing, that is why I say that Nkunku is a must, or a striker or instinctive goal scorer is a must in this team. When we are 1-0 down against a low block, all we do is ping the ball inside, cross the ball. Reece James, for the past 3 games, when he's out of ideas, crossing the ball always. We don't have that physical guy, that physical presence in the middle, or anyone who can head the ball in the back of the net. Why is he doing that? So we need to have someone, not Nkunku necessarily, but a guy who can at least be a handful for the center backs of the opposition team, that, okay, he's there, he might do something. Or a guy who can occupy at least 2 defenders in the back line. So that is my problem with this front line. The quality of chances that we have missed is a worrying thing. It's not like,
There was games before where we were creating loads of chances, Aston Villa, and we didn't take them, right? Now, recently against Brentford, we haven't created so many chances. So it's been a bit of a mixture. This team is not all season struggling to create chances, but I think against low blocks is where we haven't come up against it much. When we have, we failed miserably. That's where Pochettino needs to prove himself. In terms of the striker, I think he wanted experience. I've said it before. I think he wanted experience. I think he said that quite a few times, but the remit and the rule was we're going to go with under 25 players throughout the summer. And then now apparently he's going to get full control in January. For me, yes, it's all culpable. It's all interconnected. Everybody's responsible. Everybody has to take some responsibility. Pochettino has to take responsibility for playing Chilwell at left wing and playing, you know, flat four at home to Brentford and not having any overlapping fullbacks to bypass a low block, not having a set plan. The board obviously have to take responsibility for buying a lot of young attackers with very little, you know, in-game experience, and therefore maybe that's why we're missing our chances more so than if we had a set of proven players. But nobody for me needs to move. No one has to be on the chopping board right now, because we have to wait. We have to go through this period. Then we've put ourselves in this position. We have to see it to the other side. It's not every time for me someone needs to be fired because we've got off to a slow start. We're going for a period. I don't know how the rest of you feel, but for me...
But Matisse, what was your ambition before the start of the season? Champions League, right?
Champions League, yeah, 100%.
You're not going to get that, brother. You're not getting that.
Maybe not. Maybe I won't.
How do you feel? So how do you feel about that?
Oh, I'm not happy about it. That's for sure.
See where I'm coming. Like you can't say, let's develop and stay patient, but then also demand Champions League. Like you're contradicting your notions.
For me, I don't think Champions League was an unrealistic expectation, considering there's 5 spots.
It
wasn't. 5 spots with no European football. I don't think it's unrealistic. Now, unfortunately, and I do think it plays a part, when I'm saying these things, I'm expecting us to have our players available. I'm expecting to have Nkuku. I'm expecting to have Reece James. I'm expecting to have Lavia. Badiashile, this is the first time we're seeing him this season. We've not seen Lavia once. We haven't seen Nkuku once. Reece James is a captain, barely even available. So if you put Chelsea's strongest team out there, I don't think there's anybody that's sitting here saying we can't reach Champions League football. If these players are going to continuously for the rest of the season not see the pitch, then that's going to have to alter expectations, because these are key players. So, you know, people will say it's an excuse, but I'm sorry, if you take out 3 or 4 key players out of any team, their expectations will change. Take Odegaard, take, you know, Saliba. Look what happened when Arsenal took Saliba out last year. Take 4 key players out of every top team, literally go through all of them, and will their expectations be exactly the same? Probably not.
City lost 2 games in a row when Rodri was not there.
Yeah, look at City when Rodri's not there. Exactly. It's a great point. So for me, listen, if we make Europa League football, I'm going to be disappointed, but I'm not going to say we need to sack Poch, because I don't think that's like some, you know, ridiculous, outrageous... I don't think that's a ridiculous, outrageous performance if we was to finish in 6th for, you know, we was to take Europa League football. I would just be disappointed, because I wanna be in the Champions League as quickly as possible. I think if he was to finish like 10th or 9th or no European football, then 100%, then he's in serious trouble.
This is what I was going to allude to, because I think there's multiple facets at play here. It's true, after, like, you know, at this point in the season, you can't just be like, okay, let's just get rid of Poch and then that's it. Like, that's because there is an element here of, realistically, with the calendar that we have, this is what we asked for, right? We have 1 game a week. There's no excuse not to be able to get yourself to a certain level. But that certain level doesn't necessarily mean, okay, go and finish 3rd in the league. Like, we know that's not going to happen. But to be in that race of trying to get a good European spot is where this squad should be capable of being, on a calendar of 1 game a week. That should be non-negotiable. So if we're sitting in and around, 6th, 7th, and for me, the red line was 8th. If we were sitting 8th right now in the Premier League, I'd be like, I understand. I understand it, right? That's expected. With the injuries that we've had, and, you know, some of the reliances that you were speaking about, Matisse, if we find ourselves 8th in those circumstances, respectfully, in terms of the Premier League table, when you look at all the other teams and the squad that we have, that is where we should be, right? So that's understandable. But if down the line, for example, we have to pay attention to what we're going to do in the Carabao Cup. It goes to the point that we were talking about earlier on. Just how important is that? With the calendar that we have and no European football, and the possibility of getting European football, if we were to win that competition, it's Europa League. But right now, I think we'll take anything, right? If we were to go all the way and get a trophy, it's something, right? It's something. With the squad that we've had and the problems that we've had, it's something. But if we get knocked out, and then we still struggle to maintain a certain level in the league, then at that point, of course, if you get to a point your players have come back, you still haven't gotten better, and you're still 11th, that's when the conversations need to begin. Not right now. However, I can't help but think that the way that we conducted our business and as crazy amount of dopamine that we were being hit with at the time, I can't think that we have to an extent been set up to fail in the short term by the board, the recruitment, the owners, whoever you want to pinpoint it on, because we just don't have experience in this team. And waiting for young lads to flourish in 3 or 4 years, even so, without someone to set the example in the squad, it's going to be really difficult. Because these lads don't know any better. So even if they're struggling and they're growing and they're going to hit from 21 years old or 22 to 24, 25, 26, but throughout that way, they've just been struggling. All they know is struggle, not winning. They need to be able to get themselves to a point where they have worked out what it takes to win on a consistent basis. And that comes by having players in the squad that are going to set the example, who have been down that path. We've eliminated all of that. We've got Thiago Silva, and that's it. He's going to be gone by the end of the season. So that's where I even think I'm a little bit fearful with the strategy that we've gone with, without having actually any experience in this team whatsoever that has been there and done it, that we can rely on, which is what we used to have. That's where I feel like it's unfair to Poch and even the team in terms of how we've set ourselves up. But the quality that we do have, regardless, should still be enough to be able, like I said, to be in and around 8th, you know, where it's an understandable position at the moment. So it's going to be interesting to see where it's all going to head, because I think it's going to be be
And one thing,
it's underperforming at the moment, 100%.
Just one thing, if I could add to Younes's point, we need to look at the context also. We are 3 points off 8th place. So if we would have got 3 points, the silly points that we've lost in any of the games, which I don't put on Poch, I think some of that goes down to the players and the quality as well, which I was saying about earlier. So suddenly it becomes acceptable, right, Younes? Like if we were in 8th place right now,
it would be understandable to be in that position. But the reality is, the way that we've thrown away points. This is why I was fuming when we drew against Arsenal. Some people were like, oh, no, 2-2 against Arsenal. I was fuming.
So poor.
Yeah, because look at the repercussions. We lost to Brentford after that. Oh, great. Now, so from 2 games, we've got 1 point, and realistically, we should have got the 3 against Arsenal, and we should be beating Brentford at home.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the problem.
I think the confidence
now,
from the Arsenal win would have taken us to win against Brentford. It's all about momentum.
It is, and now we've got to face Tottenham, Man City, Newcastle. Like, this could go to a bad place just because of that initial mistake. Do you know what I mean? That's the problem. So,
and this is what I want to extend what Younes has just mentioned there, right? And I completely agree. Like, I'm a man of accountability. I'm pretty sure you guys are as well. We had a particular ambition, which obviously during the course of the season has been somewhat diminished. All right, no problems. But as Younes said, with a degree of error here and there, 7th, 8th is still acceptable under certain circumstances. So here's my question to all you guys and to the live chat that keep thinking, oh, it's me suggesting sack. No, understand what I'm saying, because I think a lot of you guys are immature. You need to understand what I'm saying, right? Upcoming fixtures. No, I'm straight up, because you guys are kids. You guys are freaking kids, all right? You need to start becoming more mature in your intellectual thinking. All right, I'm going to call it out just the way it is. As Younes has said, and I think as most people have said here in the panel, right? 7th, 8th is okay? But the upcoming fixtures that we have, the 5, we may not be 7th or 8th at the end of that. We may even be less than where we are now.
Yeah.
So supposedly, I'm painting a picture here. I'm Picasso now. I'm painting. Yeah? We go after 15 matches, because we've got 10 matches, 5 matches later, 15 matches, if I've done my maths right. We can go from 11th to, I don't know, 14th, 15th, whatever. After 15 matches, you tell me, from that position, even if Nkunku comes back, which Matisse said, that's not wise to put all your eggs on the Nkunku basket. Where is this season heading?
Gonna have to go on
one. Are we drifting away? Are we drifting away from the 7th or 8th, which wasn't even our ambition to start off with? Let's be honest. We brought that. We brought that back because of the circumstances. And if we can't even meet that, then what are we doing?
Yeah, the thing is,
Now people are going to say, "Oh, Miz is asking for Poch to be sacked." No, think.
The thing is, it could get to that point. The whole Nkunku thing that I know some people are relying on, and a lot of people are relying on beating Newcastle in the Carabao Cup because they think Nkunku will be back by that point. One is when players come back at Chelsea Football Club and we get told a date, you got to wait about 3 or 4 weeks for them to start hitting the level that they're meant to be hitting. So that's unapplicable. But on top of that, we got Cole Palmer for that very reason, who's been playing brilliantly. So for me, that Nkunku scenario, that part of the pitch, is covered. Cole Palmer has stepped in.
Agreed.
He's done brilliant. He has been the guy. Nkunku, if Nkunku's playing well, he'd be doing the same thing, right? So some people are going to say, okay, no, we're going to stick Nkunku up top, though. That was never the plan. No. That's why we got Jackson. That was never the plan. Nkunku was always meant to play in behind the striker, in that 10, or where we've seen Cole Palmer been playing. So we're covered in that role, yet we're getting the results that we're getting. And even though we're playing the way that we're playing, Cole Palmer still stands out. He's the one guy that we all turn to and go, bloody hell, man. We played shocking, but he was unbelievable. Every single time. He's been flawless, right? So that, for me, the Nkunku argument isn't going to be the be-all and end-all for Chelsea's season, right? If after 15 games we find ourselves in that position of 14th, 15th, for me, it gets to a certain point of the season, and for me, that point is post-Christmas. We get to post-Christmas, and we're in that part of the table. On one game a week, it's unacceptable.
So that's the breaking point, right? This is what I was saying. That's the breaking point.
100%. For me, I start to have conversations. For me, I start to have conversations at that point.
And I think that's logical. I think that's very logical. I don't think
one game a week.
I don't think that's wild to think that way. And this is why I said recently, oh, this is the Man United stuff. No. Man United and our issues are totally different. Man United have issues. Man United, honestly, they probably shouldn't sack Erik ten Hag because their issues are far deeper than the manager. It's the club, it's the structure, it's the deadwoods, it's everything. The manager is probably not at the highest priority. Whereas us, yes, okay, new owners, they haven't made the right decision, but it's not. They've spent a lot of money. We've got good infrastructure. We've got talented youngsters. We got rid of all the deadwood. Now we just need the manager to start clicking things. That's what we need. So if the manager's not doing that for me, questions need to be asked.
When you look at this is where when you look at impact of other managers, and this isn't going to be a flipping, anti-Poch or something like no. Like I said, it's wrong to get rid of him at the moment, completely. When you look at the impact that some other managers have had, and there is a point here, like I mentioned earlier, in terms of our recruitment, we've kind of, I think, set ourselves up to fail a little bit. But when you look at an Ange who's walked into Tottenham, and boom. Unai Emery at Aston Villa. Boom. It's just, they have found a way with what they've got without even making huge amount of signings or spending $1 billion or whatnot. They've not done that, but they found a way just to get the team going. Let's start. And they found a blueprint and they're executing the blueprint. With Poch, my one issue with Poch right now is I still don't know the 11 or what we're doing game after game in, game out. How are we trying to move forward? It still feels experimental, and that's why I feel like he gone.
That's my main issue with the Blackburn performances. There was no cohesion in the way we was trying to attack at all. It was all just freestyle. It was very much built on individualism. It felt like, and not really. I mean, Sterling goal, cool. That was a good press from Gallagher and Palmer. The Badiashile goal came from a set piece, I think, corner, and Palmer nutmegs one of the defenders, and then they managed to get it into the box. But it wasn't like a constant wave after wave of attack after attack, and like back to front. This is like a clear, really good method of how we're trying to play. And what I didn't like, which was my main gripe, was the substitutions, because when you start putting Gallagher left mid and you start putting Palmer up front, you're not continuing to play the way that you're going to play in the games coming up. You're playing players out of position now to hold a lead at home to Blackburn. The time that Madueke came on maybe shows the lack of faith and trust in him to track his runners and keep a 2-0 lead. He doesn't want the same rubbish that happened against Arsenal to happen against Blackburn, which I think is pretty damning indictment. But it would have been nice to continue to see players in the strongest positions that they will play in future games, and to continue to try and work on defeating that low block as the game is going on, to try and get the third, try and get the fourth, instead of just battening down the hatches, playing, I don't know how many midfielders were out there, 5 midfielders, players all over the place out of position. That was my main gripe. But do I think this manager is good enough to put us in Champions League places? Absolutely. So then
it should be, yeah.
Because I believe that, then I have to look at what's around, and I have to look at the factors. And like I said, he gets, quite a decent amount of blame because of some of the decisions he's made against Brentford earlier on in the season with Chilwell. But then these players also have to take responsibility because they're making a whole heap of mistakes that really are just uncalled for, whether it's Sanchez in goal, whether it's, decision making between Sterling and Jackson running 2v1 on a goalkeeper, could have had 3 points there. So there's a lot of small factors that are the reason as to why we're in the position we're in. And I don't think it's this overwhelmingly huge one person or one thing that is putting us in this position. I think it's a lot of little things that are incrementally building up that has put us where we are. I've got patience because I'm not going to lie, I've come off last season and we ain't going anywhere fast. It's as simple as that. And I'm tired of this sacking, hiring. Do you trust this board to hire the right person? They sacked Poch. Did you see the shortlist that they had? Vincent Company over the summer. They weren't looking at Enrique. They weren't looking at any of these guys. Pochettino was on that list as well. And with the football that he tries to
maybe
play,
the board was cooking something.
With the football that he tries to play, that's fantastic. But this team doesn't have Maddison. This team doesn't have Son up front. It has Jackson. So you can best believe that all those chances that Son's been putting away for Tottenham, Jackson would have been missing them. And Maddison is the Nkuku of this team. So as much as we talk about Postecoglou and the way that he's playing, I wouldn't be surprised if we were having similar issues. We might have maybe 3 more points. Who knows? Sanchez making a mistake that Vicario hasn't made this season. Who knows? But we'd be playing good football. We wouldn't be getting the results, and people would be complaining about Postecoglou and whether or not he has the experience and the winning, history at the top level to do it. It's all, for me, when I think about Chelsea, it's always better on the other side. There's always something greener. The grass is always greener on the other side. And when these people actually come into the club that we want, or, whether it's players or manager, when they come in, then when they show that when they show up at our club and they have the same issues that others have had previously, then the whole narrative on that manager completely changes. The one thing I want Poch to do is to just pick a team that makes sense, and to also probably say a lot less when it comes to the way that our season is potentially going to go and the expectations changing, because he has sold maybe a too many a dream at the start of the season. But I don't really. That's the last thing that that's last on my list. Press conferences right now. But for me, that's how I see it. I think for us, we just need to for me anyway, I just need to just get through this period of difficult fixtures, try and get some results, and I think back into the season, hopefully go on a bit of a run. But I'm not excited about sacking anyone and thinking that it's going to change our fortunes because of the team that we've assembled. And also because you just don't know who these guys are going to look to bring in. They still want a yes man. They still want someone that's going to develop their young players. And they're still not looking for a quote unquote world-class manager. Potter, Lampard, Poch. Poch is the best out of the bunch. No one can tell me otherwise. Out of those managers that we've had so far, whether it's Bruno, whether it's Lampard, whether it's Potter, we've reached the creme de la creme with this board in terms of managers. They ain't going to go and get an Ancelotti or a Zidane. So for me, you need to be very careful, because I think Poch has the potential, even if he has a bad first year, to kick on in his second, to kick on in his third. There is no squad upheaval. There is no, you talk about Ten Hag and Manchester United. One thing that they don't have over there is any sort of calmness. They're just chaos. He's falling out with all the players. He's falling out with Varane. He's falling out with Ronaldo, falling out with De Gea, falling out with this player, that player. That's not happening with Poch. This is a very together unit. So even though the results are not coming, this team is united. The team are working hard. There's not many lazy players, maybe Sterling every now and then. I don't know if that's down to age, but they're trying their best to get results. You add a couple of pieces here and there, you start to take away this under 25 model and add a bit of experience. I think this manager and this group of players can still get us somewhere. They haven't reached their ceiling. They haven't got us to where we need to be, which is in the Champions League. If we get to the Champions League, we start getting to finals and he starts losing. That's maybe DNA Tottenham. Cool. We send him on his way and we keep it moving. He's on a 2-year deal. Let's not forget that. He's not on a 5-6-year deal. He's not into this, Bowie jail sentence contract. He's in a 2-year with an option of a 3rd. So he's not done his mission statement. He needs to do his job, and then we can talk about upgrading after that. But right now, for me, it's way too early for that talk.
I think one thing needs to be clear. I don't think anyone is advocating for a manager to be sacked today, tomorrow, ever. We want the manager to succeed. I think what we're trying to get to here is what you've just said, Matisse, in regards to being patient. I think we need to have a limit to patience as well. As Younes has said, and as I've said, at the end of this next 5 fixtures, or even by the end of December, if we're 14th and we're still sticking by with hook or crook, either we've made a incorrect decision with our ambition for this season, so we haven't outlaid the correct information to the fans, or whatever it is, to say that, do you know what, the ambition wasn't to come 4th or Champions League positions or 7th or 8th. The ambition was just for Pochettino to get a feel of the squad, and then from next season we'll kick on. But that wasn't what was sort of relayed with the level of money that was spent, right? So we have to understand that we are happy to be patient. But if we had been 7th or 8th right now, I don't think we would be having these conversations. We would be saying we are patient because we can see that something's happening. Hard to be patient when you're 11th.
I disagree, bro, because I don't think 3 points, which is what Baba just said, is effectively 3 points puts you in 8th, which is just above Manchester United. I don't think a dodgy...
Where's those 3 points coming from?
Brentford, Nottingham Forest. I don't think a dodgy win against one of these teams where the performance is maybe exactly the same, but the goals have flipped, should give you way more confidence than you have right now. Unless this team, for me, was inside the top 4 and basically where Tottenham are, or not even Tottenham, but unless this team was like bare minimum in the top 4 and basically challenging, I don't think there's any reason to have massive fluctuations between feelings. Because when you look at the gap between Newcastle and say Palace and Fulham, it's 5 points. 5 points doesn't change really the mood for me that much. I'm not gonna lie. I've been watching the games. Like, I've seen our performances, regardless of whether we picked up a couple goals here or there in another game. If Sterling gets a penalty against Brentford, we go on to win that game, right? Or if Jackson doesn't hit the post against Bournemouth, or Sterling's free kick goes in, or their 2v1 goes in against Bournemouth, this is not going to make a massive difference to how I'm feeling, to be honest. I don't think it's that much of a difference.
No problems about the matches that has gone by and what we could have done. Similarly, some of those matches that you've mentioned that we've dropped points in, the opposition could have also hurt us. There were a couple of times where Sanchez was the man of the match. The opposition could have hurt us. As we've already mentioned, there hasn't been a single game this season where, as Baba said, that we've played better than 25 minutes. So there has been instances equally where the opposition can also say, well, hold on a second, we could have won as well. I don't think I can categorically say a single match. Maybe the Aston Villa one. I can probably say, do you know what? Aston Villa, you got away with that one because we were the dominant force, right? So, yeah, I hear it that we're only 3 points away from being 7th or 8th, but I need to see those points over the next few fixtures. And this is why, a lot of you guys weren't upbeat about Spurs. I'm upbeat. I need Chelsea to win. I need our team to galvanize and get up for this match against Spurs because it's crucial. Our season will be going down the drain. I need the players to understand this. I need them to inflict the first loss on Spurs. I'm not going to come on my preview and say I'm going to lose. I'm going to predict a win. In fact, I'm even going to predict maybe a 2-1 victory. Because I have to. Because what's the point of predicting a draw or a loss and then coming here and saying about, how can you expect us to, we're only 3 points away from 7. No, it's all contradictions. It's either we expect us to win or we don't say anything at all for this season and we write it off. I'm happy to write this season off if that's the case. If we can get into that general consensus to write this season off and give Poch a brand new summer where he's fully in control, bring his players. I'm happy. I'm absolutely happy if everyone in the live chat, everyone in the panel could say, do you know what? 2023-24 season is a write-off. We look forward to the next one. I'm okay with that.
With that, I wanna make a point. It's one thing when the fans, even online or whoever, right, that don't have the power to go on the pitch and change things for themselves, can make any sort of prediction. The mentality you're talking about of being able to be showing you're going to be up for it and we got to win, and that needs to be from within them. Like, that needs to be from within the team and the manager on the day. They're the ones with that power that need to go out there and do it, especially at a ground like Tottenham, because we already know what this game means to the fan base. Tottenham, Chelsea. You look at the Premier League calendar when it comes out. It's one of the first fixtures you look at. Spurs, when we play in Spurs away. It's one of the first,
100.
right? Because it's a it's a really, really deep rivalry. But it's not the fans that are going to go on the pitch and get the job done. The fans can look at it and either go with hope, bring some analysis as to why they think that they're actually going to get the job done. Some are going to be doubtful. Some are going to say, "Nah, I just don't see it happening." Like, everyone's going to have their opinion on the day. But that mentality, which I agree with completely, of no, we got to win. Like, this, anything less is unacceptable. We got to go out there and get the job done. I agree with that. But that needs to be from the players and the manager themselves in the dressing room before going out. That needs to be the mentality. I hope that's the mentality right now, because right now we're not playing in a way that shows that seems to be the mentality. Do you know what I mean? So that needs to be the mentality on the day, and they need to be going all guns blazing for 90 minutes. And even when the going gets tough, to just keep going and stay focused and don't make stupid mistakes and concentrate and be clicked on from minute 1 to minute 90. Then like the fans are going to react off that. That's just how it is.
Like I said, we've created chances. We played pretty well against teams that don't set up with a low block. Brentford was the first time we faced a low block since probably Nottingham Forest, and maybe Blackburn as well, but I don't really care about that game. Arsenal, everybody was happy with the performance, apart from the last 15 minutes. That was actually 75 minutes where we played well. Tottenham is a similar situation to that. Man City, listen, our record against them, I think we've lost like 6 out of the last 6. I'm not even going to get into that game. But the rest of them, the Newcastles, the Brightons, the Manchester Uniteds, on paper, it looks really daunting. But this is actually the type of opposition we've actually played quite well against, teams that will open up a little bit and will think they can come at us because of where we are in the league. So, yeah, for me, I'm agreeing with you, Miz. I'm going to predict a Tottenham win as well, purely because it's needs must, and it's Tottenham. I can't really accept any other. Even though Younes said we can't say it's Tottenham, it's still like rolls off the tongue. Where not even to say it's Tottenham. They're not good, because they clearly are. They play a certain way. They're well equipped now. Clearly, it's no fluke what's happening, at least for this season. We're going to see they're probably going to finish in Champions League. But it's Tottenham, as in it's Tottenham. They don't get over the line in terms of winning trophies. We hate them. We need to go into that game with the mindset of winning, because there's loads of underdogs in this league. And we shouldn't even be underdogs to Tottenham in the first place. But there's loads of underdogs in this league that rock up to stadiums where they're not expected to win, and they go and win. So we, unfortunately, have to have that type of mindset where we are going to go and spoil a party, or we are going to be doing something that we're not favored to do.
And you know what? Take away, and it's very difficult to take away the Tottenham, the sentiment around that. But just for a second, let's take that away. We need to win. Do you know what I mean? Like, we need points. Newsflash, we need points. So it's getting into a situation where we can't afford to just keep on saying, "Oh no, I'm patient. Yeah, well, before you know it, you're 15th and you're patient." Do you know what I mean? So we have to start picking up points. We have to.
Yeah.
My thing is that you can see that the players and the manager have a good relationship. For me, it will take something quite drastic to break that up and then go and give them another personality. A lot of these players have already had about 4 managers to work with.
That's true.
That's not
true.
good. So we need to be very careful. If we're going to develop players, they need stability. That doesn't come from sacking managers. So we all need Pochettino to do very, very well in the next few months, because I know Iceman is in the chat cheering on for the sacking, so you can be like, I got you, Matisse. But a lot of these young players are going to start caving in if they have to go through. Say the next manager that comes in plays a back 3, you know, after we just switch to a 4 and we go back to that again. A lot of these players are going to start caving in their development if we don't stick with a stable foundation, and that comes from management. If he's trying to teach them stuff and he's trying to build them to a certain place, he's not going to be able to get them there if he's sacked within the first, 5 months? How many months has he been here? 5 months of his job? Don't expect no young players to develop with sacking managers every 5 months. So that's my main point. This is not a group of experienced players. This is not prime Roman Abramovich with Drogba, Terry, and Cahill and all these guys where you can just sack whoever you want, bring in the next guy, and it will be all rosy.
Well, this is the thing. This is why I mentioned earlier on what I mentioned. Was that the right strategy from the get-go? This is where I'm looking upstairs, and I'm not looking at Poch specifically, because I would have loved a manager like Poch to be able to have at least some experience to rely on. We've just cleared everything out, which the deadwood was correct to get rid of, but to not have, even if you're going to buy players, to just not buy a bunch of 21, 22-year-olds. Was that the right strategy from the get-go? Have we set ourselves up to fail to an extent from the get-go? It's possible, at least in the short term, or maybe this season at least. But I truly think that there should still be enough quality there to not finish in a dire position. And a dire position would be on 1 game a week to be low bottom half of the table. That's just unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? Tottenham right now, just to put things into context, after 10 games of a possible 38, Tottenham are moving like a team that are challenging for the title. What do I mean by that? All the teams that you expect them to beat, they're beating. And the top 6, they're getting the job done at home and they're getting results away. When you look at, they've played Liverpool at home, beat them. Very tight, but beat them. Man United at home, that was a no contest. Arsenal away, they got a draw. You see, now when we were competing for the league, it was a case of get the job done against your Brentfords and all of that, which is where we fumbled. But the top 6, or at that time, the top 4, they come to the bridge, we win. We go away, we look to get the draw and just, take a point and we're good. And that's it. And that's why our record against the top teams was so flawless. And with that form, we go on and we challenge for the title. Tottenham are moving like that right now. And that's who we got to play. So this is why I'm saying, don't undermine them just because the name is Tottenham. I understand that sentiment, and I've been doing that for years. But this is the first time I'm looking at Tottenham and going, shit. So I hope we step up to the occasion, because we have to be flawless on Monday. We have to be.
On that, Younes, and that's a fantastic point, by the way. We saw what Spurs have been post-Pochettino. I think they had a bit of a bounce when Conte came in, his first season. They made it back into the Champions League. But I think we can categorically say, since Pochettino left Spurs have been in a bit of a decline. Yeah. And then last season, I know we were very, very poor, but they were also very poor. Not equally as poor as us, but poor nonetheless.
Yeah.
In comes Ange Postecoglou, who 4 months ago, no one knew anything about. I only knew him because he's Australian. Right? Even I didn't know his philosophy that well. I just knew him because he's Australian. He comes in with a Harry Kane-less Spurs, with a Basuma that everyone had knocked, said this guy is a no good player. And all of a sudden, Basuma is the topmost midfielder in the Premier League at the moment, right? He's come in, short amount of time, playing his brand of football that he played in J-League. In A-League, in J-League, and in the Scottish League. And he's brought that same philosophy over for Spurs and started making them play that way. Why is it that difficult for me as a Chelsea fan to expect not all that Ange has shown already for Spurs, but maybe even 75% of that? Why is it that hard for me? As I said, Harry Kane less Spurs and he's banging in goals. Like, is that too? Like, am I asking for too much, or am I asking for too little? Like, what? I don't know.
He's underperforming. That's the point. He's underperforming. We should have more points than we have, but that's not solely on the manager. Like I said, that's also the players have to take responsibility. If it was solely on the manager, and I was sitting here thinking every single game I've watched, it's the manager's fault why we're in this position, then fine. Then the manager would be. I probably wouldn't even have the patience for the manager because I'd be saying there's literally nothing that you've done so far as for me to sit here and say, yeah, you're not really doing anything. You're not really worth your waiting time. But it's not solely down to the manager. The players have to take responsibility as well. Individual errors that these guys are making, which they shouldn't be making, is also why we've dropped points. So for me, that's for me, that's pretty cut and dry.
If that's the case, are these players good enough and should have been brought to the club in the first place, despite them being young?
Well, I'm hoping that they have to iron out these mistakes. That's the thing. They have to iron out these mistakes. That's what happens when you have a very untried, untested team. They make errors, a lot of errors, and you have to hope that they iron them out. It's frustrating, but that is what it is. We've all watched the games. We've seen the errors. We've seen Thiago Silva dive in. Even him at the start of the season was not starting to the level that he should have been at. That's not systematic. Jackson and Sterling 2v1 is not systematic. Sanchez passing it to Declan Rice is not systematic. I mean, I would have loved for him to just launch it, but again, some brain cells need to be used in that moment from players. So,
but Matisse, you're just looking at the attacking flaws, which I completely agree with. By the way, we have screwed up in an attacking phase of things. What about the stuff how we concede goals, Matisse? What about the lapse of concentration with Malo Gusto? With against Arsenal when
this is what young players do, bro.
Desassi in recent times against Brentford and many more. But we can't just sit here and say I feel. Look, you're right, man. Once again, you're right. It's not all Poch, but I just get the feeling this whole individual errors. We've seen it for far too long over the last few seasons, and it's a culmination of, I feel, unclear about instructions, uncertainty about the philosophy and the style of play, because I don't get it. Why are we having this every single game? Mistakes in life. You put yourself in different situations. Forget about football for a time. People make mistakes in life generally when they're unclear, unsure. Do you know what I mean? Like, not necessarily because they don't have the skill set. We've been doing these individual errors ever since the Lampard era. We even did that during Tuchel. We're now doing it. We did that during Graham Potter. Now we're doing it with Pochettino. What's going on? Are the instructions not clear for these players? Why are these lapses of concentrations in defense? All right, get a clean sheet then. Show me that you can get a clean sheet. Get draws. Get 7 draws.
I have to say, I pointed this out not long ago that when we're not scoring, okay, we're not scoring. That seems to be the focus on everyone's mind, is that we can't finish our dinner. Cool. Well, in that case, I expect us to have a few 0-0s.
Yeah,
we've got one. Like, we've been conceding. We have been conceding as well, but that's been eclipsed because of the woes up top. And just the fact that, we can't shoot. And it's not just the centre forward here. It's the collective front line, which I think we focus all the attention on the centre forwards to be the Lord and Saviour of this team. But realistically, the entire front line doesn't seem to be firing. Not new. But, if we were solid enough defensively, we wouldn't be conceding either. And we'd have 0-0s. We'd be taking a point every single match.
Would we really be happy with 0-0s though? Or would we not be saying we need to be chasing the goal? We're Chelsea. Because if we were drawing 0-0 and we were starting to go defensive to say, all right, we're not going to score. Because I've seen managers do this at Chelsea before. They don't have faith in the attack. We're not putting away chances. They say, right, I'm going to get defensive now. I'm going to take a 0-0. No one ain't taking a 0-0. No one's taking a 0-0 at home to Brentford because we can't score goals.
I agree. It's not about being defensive.
But if you're going to guarantee clean sheets, you do have to start getting defensive minded. You do bring on DMs in Leslie Okachuku. You do bring on players at wing that are going to track their runners like Madueke didn't. But if you do that when you're at 0-0 for a club like Chelsea, then people are going to come for you and say, listen, you need to be trying to aim to win games. And I know people would be like, I would rather you try to win the game, because that's the mentality, that's Chelsea, than try and go backs against the walls for a draw. I know that would be the case. For me, this is what I'm reading is so disingenuous to say that we would be happy with 0-0s because we can't score. So we're just gonna go defensive now. And we're gonna get 0-0s. It doesn't make any sense.
No. That's not my point at all. That's not my point at all. I'm not saying, okay, no, screw it. We can't score goals, so just shut shop and get a 0-0, lads. Like, no. The point is, because that would be dire. After spending $1 billion, that would be ridiculous. But what I'm saying is, the focus on the issues right now is so much on our attacking that I think we have ignored that even defensively, we're not up to the certain standard that we should be.
That's what I'm saying.
That's it. You know, the defense isn't as good as I think people think it is because of what we're missing up top. You know, that's not to say, okay, just sit back and reinforce it even more. Like, no, it's just we are still leaking. You know, we're not scoring, but we are leaking. And there needs to be focus on ourselves defensively as well as up top in terms of how good we actually are in this team. Because we're focusing a lot on the fact we're not scoring goals. But we're not exactly 100% at the back either. That's the point.
Younes, I'll go even one step further and let's see what everyone else has to say about this. Don't even worry about defense. I'll even say, just looking at that Blackburn game, because that's the most recent one, but I'm pretty sure we can touch base on all the other games that we've played this season. How often has Blackburn just ripped through our midfield to get into our final third? It was a basketball game at one time. So sure, we can't score, and that is an issue. And I would also caveat that by saying we don't always produce quality chances as well. I know we've missed some quality chances, but it's not like we are creating plethora of quality chances. And it's clear that we need something different up front. That's not the case. Yes, attack is an issue, but take that aside. We get ripped through the midfield, and that's after spending hell of a lot of money in midfield. And we have lapses of concentration in defense. So this is where I have to say the manager has to get a grip here, because the points are getting away. Yes, all the fault is not his, but there are distinct flaws in every department of our play. And it comes back to what Baba said, we only play 25 minutes good football per match. That, for me, is not good enough.
Yeah, the thing is, the repercussions of this, right, down the line, as much as, yeah, I agree, it's not all Poch. It's not all Poch. But the end result will all be Poch. It's as simple as that. And that's just the reality of the game. Like, if it came to it, it's the manager that's getting his head chopped off. And Ten Hag is seeing that right now. And Ten Hag will lose his job. And if I'm saying, like, if down the line we still find ourselves 14th, right, and the club are like crap, it will be the manager that will pay. As much as we agree or we disagree, but it will be the manager. So it's going to be on his head. So it's up to him to try and find something. If it's not going to be clicking after a certain time, you've got to get the players' heads out of their asses one way or another, because it's going to be you that goes to the guillotine, not them. That's just how it is. So hope he finds it.
Yeah, and the in-game management needs to improve as well. The substitutions is another one where the level of substitutions is not to the level. I can say that for a fact. Another, before I go to super chats and we wrap up, no team creates masses of chances, masses of quality chances against low blocks. The best teams create some and take them. I think this is important. We need to start scoring early. Because we talk about these 25 minutes, right? These 25 minutes were meant to score. you started well, capitalize, get the goal, and then guess what? That low block that we were discussing is gonna disappear because they're gonna need to equalize. And then it becomes a situation where we can get the second and get the third because there is a bit more space. We shouldn't be going up against a low block for 90 minutes. We're meant to capitalize and get that goal in the first 25. True. So we need to be way more ruthless. Yeah,
that's what we used to do. And we used to do that with defensive teams.
You should be playing. You should be playing against a low block for 25 minutes at Stamford Bridge, And then for the other 75, for the rest of the game, it should be a normal match because you should have already got past. You should have scored because we have created chances in those 25 minutes. Otherwise, we wouldn't be saying we were playing well. But yeah, Cucurella shooting with his right foot on the end of Cole Palmer crosses is not exactly what I had in mind for scoring. How we're going to get our goals. 3 points or nothing at Spurs. They cut. There comes a time where men need to step the fuck up, says Kingsley. Winning the Carabao Cup gets you Conference League qualification, not Europa League. That's for the FA Cup. Fair enough. We better go and win the FA Cup as well then. Fun fact, the bald gene is passed from your mum, not dad. It's passed from father to daughter, then to son. Okay.
Well, my mum's not bald. That's for sure.
No, my mum ain't bald either.
Oh dear. The only sacking that should happen next, if it comes down to it, should be the board with Stuart, and when Stanley, more focus needs to be on them. Do you know what? Yeah, I mean, listen, if there's one consistent theme about who has us in mid-table 2 years running, it's the board, not really the manager.
Yeah, I agree.
To be quite honest.
I agree.
And that will be a damning indictment on them if we were to finish in 10th. Cool, you sack Poch. I don't really give a shit, to be honest. You sack him, go and get someone else. But if you keep finishing 10th with all these different managers, there's only one consistent at the end of the day, because I know Poch is more than capable of getting a team to Champions League if he has Son up front, finishing deadly chances that we've missed this season. So someone gonna pay the price, but I know who's been consistent in a consistent theme throughout all of it if it keeps happening year after year. Let's wrap up though. It's been a great show, great debates, proper deep one. That one, you know what I mean? That
was good.
And you know what? If we beat Tottenham, it's gonna be one of them. It's gonna be one really good, strong episode next week. If we get slapped, then I fear for what Miz is gonna come with. Miz,
if we lose, I swear I'm calling in sick.
Oh damn! Let the people know where to find you, Miz. It's been a pleasure. Great show.
Yeah, man, it's been a great show. The other side of the coin. Obviously, our match is on. It's not really on the weekend. It's a Monday night match.
Monday.
Yeah, just the normal news, and then obviously the preview. And I'll try my level best for the watch along. It's just before work starts. I just started new work, and I do have to go to the office, so it's not like work from home anymore. So I'll try my best to see if I can do a watch along.
Okay, there we are. I mean, listen, I really hope you do, because I need to be ringing phones.
I will, because it's a big game. It's a big game, yeah.
Younes, let the people know where to find you, bro. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it has been, man. It has been. Younes Talks Football, same old place. And we'll look forward to the Tottenham game. There will be a watch along for that. And we'll see how we end up coming through that game and back onto this. Or you can eat Chelsea, and seeing how we're going to be feeling, whether we're going to be ecstatic or there's going to be bombs going off on here. So we'll see. We'll see.
Bro, it's going to be mad, isn't it, after the Spurs game? Yeah, I just feel it. It's going to be
nerves.
so mad.
I just know the nerves are going to be insane when I'm loading up that stream.
100%. 100%. I'm going to be bricking it.
Baba, let the people know where to find you, bro. Pleasure.
Yeah, man. Great show. Let's hope we get a win against Spurs. And yes, I really want to be that team who beat Spurs first time in the league, it could be a trigger point for us. If you remember last season, United also got off to a bad start, but they beat Liverpool at Old Trafford, and then they went on a run. They beat Arsenal also in that run, and all of that happened. I think Arsenal game would have been that game for us, but we managed to bottle it and lost to Brentford. So yeah, suddenly this season has been one step forward, 2 steps back for us. I don't know when it will stop. So yeah, same place, Drogbaba. Do make sure to subscribe to the channel. Give me a follow on Instagram and Twitter as well. And yeah, man, looking forward to the Spurs game. And I hope that the first message after that game in the group chat is one of happiness, pride, and enthusiasm, rather than what the hell just happened, boys.
Well, there you are, guys. Make sure you subscribe to all the boys. Links are in the description. What an episode. I love a debate. I love it. And I'm not gonna lie, we will all be here regardless, but others might not be if we don't pick up our shit. So we will be there regardless. So yeah, hopefully we turn shit around quickly. In a bit, people. Peace.